Hey everyone, let's just thank the worship team again. Worship God with you guys and just hear you worship God is just amazing. This is Faith, and Faith is going to pray for me before I speak, and we're going to let these people go. I'm sorry. They were just going to stand back there the whole time. It was going to be awesome. Eating Pop-Tarts, you know. So Faith's going to pray, and then we're going to jump in tonight.
Lord Jesus, please have your words flow through Mike, so in who we are now and who we are becoming, and please let your message speak to us and every person in this room so that they may feel exactly how you need them to feel in this moment and in who they're becoming. Amen.
Thank you, Faith. Let's hear it for Faith. Yeah! All right.
Yeah, Mike.
You're just going to hold this one. You're going to hand it. Jack Breed. Hey, you are, I like this. Y'all are hyped tonight, I feel like.
Yeah.
From the jump, you guys like had a good barbecue. Let's thank the carols again. I love it. And it's just good. And I'm so glad you're here. And I want you to think about something right from the start. You just sang songs and words and expressed words to God that said things like, there's no shadow you won't light up, no mountain you won't climb up, no wall you won't kick down, there's no lie you won't tear down coming after me. Like your love actually comes after me. It wants me. It desires me. And you said words like, oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. That God's love is like this. And as you go and you think about that, as you think about that tonight, we're talking about becoming authentic. And the only reason that any of you in this room, including myself, could ever become the authentic, real, honest about where they are and who they are person that we're going to really challenge you to become tonight is because of that. Because you are loved. No matter what you've done, no matter what's going on in your life, no matter what is going on in your life right now, the God of this universe loves you and is crazy about you like that. And when you are in this place and in this community, we try as hard as we can to love one another. Authenticity is born out of love. It is not born out of judgment or hate, or the way some of you have been treated when you've opened up to someone and they responded in a way that wasn't loving. Kind of stopped you from being authentic. But this kind of love, the kind of love that will light up a shadow, that will tear down a door, a wall, that will climb up a mountain to get to you and love you. That's the kind of thing that makes us have the ability to be authentic. And I want you to know that every single person in this room struggles with authenticity, struggles with being open and honest about the person that they really are and where they really are with God in their relationships and their life. Some of you tonight walked up here not okay, and you've been smiling and high-fiving the whole night. I know because I've done it. I've done it. I've done that recently, actually. And some of you guys know that. But we're talking tonight about becoming authentic, and one of the cool things that I got to do a few times was lead mission trips to Zambia, Africa. Some of you guys probably don't know where that is. You probably have no idea where that is. And in Zambia, we would go to this city called Ndola. And Ndola, their nickname is the friendly city. And so you roll in, and all the signs say, Ndola, the friendly city. And one time I had to laugh because there were two dudes fighting, physically fighting each other right under the sign. And I'm just like, that's great, that's cool. And if I had my phone, like, I'd just be like, yeah, friendly city, whatever. And they're just beating each other up. But that rarely happened. But Ndola was called the friendly city. And when I got to know some of my friends that lived there, they had a greeting. And they would come up to each other and say, Umushani. And Drew. Yeah. And not that Drew. They would come up and they would go, Umushani. And they would just do this over and over again. And you had no idea how many times they were going to do it. Some people did it 3 times, some people did it 30. And it's just like, you're here, Umushani, and it's we know, Umushani, we know, Umushani, you know, and they would just be doing all this stuff, and it's like, what the heck is going on? Like, I don't even know how to greet. But Umushani means hello, how are you? And there is only one word in their language. It's called bimba. There is only one response in their language to the phrase and question, how are you? It's wina. It's good. I'm good. And I'm like, well, what if y'all bad? Like, what if the sun's going down and like you're not good? And they're just like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, what? Like, is bad not a word? And they're like, no, we just say good every time. And I'm like, y'all crazy. And then I thought about here. Think about that for a second. How are you used to be the thing that neighbors walked over to the porch of their neighbor and said, how are you really doing? And they would sit on rocking chairs on a porch, much like this one, and they would actually talk for an hour about how they were doing. And now it's this. Hey, how are you? And you're like, good! I'm good! Good. I'm good too. It is a greeting now. It's not even a question. And one of the things that happens is this. Because that's a greeting and not a question, many of us never have the opportunity to really be authentic about how we're doing. It's just what we do now, culturally. And one of the things that we want to talk about tonight is we want to break what the culture does. We want to sit with each other. We want to sit on those rocking chairs out there, and we want to talk about life. We want to sit on this back porch with our cool neighbors that are right here in this row and talk about life. You know? Yeah, you are cool. And so, here's the thing. Some of you grew up in the church. And there's going to be a graphic that's going to come up on the screen. And some of you grew up in the church. And I love this graphic because it talks about the book of Psalms. It talks about the book of Psalms and the emotions that are in the book of Psalms. This is not an exhaustive list. But this is the scope of the God-human relationship expressed by the Psalms. There's happiness in it. There's rejoicing. There's sadness. There's tenderness. There's love. There's excitement. There's fear. There's scared. There's anger. There's uncertainty. There's questioning of God. There is doubt. And some of you grew up in the church, and every time you walked in, you felt like, I got to be happy. Consumer Christianity has told us that you've got to be happy when you walk in here. I'm here to tell you that that is a lie. It's a lie. You do not have to walk in here and fake it. And you guys know that if you've been here a while, but for the new people in the room, I just want you to know. You don't have to pretend. You don't have to act. You don't have to put on a face. You can be real and authentic in this place and be loved. A student and I talked with a girl in the yard today, and she just kept saying, every time I've actually talked to someone about something in my life, they've rejected me or left. That should not happen. That should not happen. That will not happen here. And when you look at this, when I look at this, it makes me angry. Because we think that we have to have all our stuff together to be here. We think we have to put on the front. And really, it's not true. This line of thinking makes us fall into a trap of being inauthentic, faking it, or not being honest or real. And one of the things that happens in that is we never open up to anyone. We never get close enough to anyone in intimacy to actually talk to them about what's going on in our life. I did this for years. I was a minister at a church before I came here. And I walked in every Sunday. Oh, hey, how you doing? No, it's good to see you. Blah, blah, blah. I faked it. And then I started getting really honest about where I was in life. And I started getting really authentic with people. To the point that some people were very uncomfortable with some of the things that I would say up front like this. Because I was honest. And they didn't like it. But other people loved it because they were like, I can talk to that guy about stuff. And so, this is not real. The fact that you would think you would have to be happy to walk in here or believe a certain thing to walk in here is false. I have this friend, and this screen is going to show up quite a bit because I'm going to tell a couple stories tonight. I have this friend, his name's Aaron. We're going to call him Aaron because that's his name. His name is Aaron. We're not sharing his name. Hi, Aaron, if you're watching. And Aaron graduated from this college and was in CCBT. He graduated about 4 years ago, and I absolutely love Aaron. Aaron came to our men's Bible study, and that's all he came to, pretty much. He would come to men's Bible study on Tuesday nights. It was Tuesday nights then, now it's Monday nights. Shout out to the guys that are in that. But he would come in every week, and he was completely silent. Anybody that person in a Bible study? I love y'all. You're just like, you walk in and you're just like, that was a nice comment. Yes, I liked that. No, thank you for sharing. You know, and you're just like, and then you walk out and go home. It's like, awesome. You say nothing. It's so cool. And so Aaron was doing this. And Aaron is not talking at all. And about a month in, Aaron pulls me aside afterwards and he says, can we talk in the office? And we went back in that office. And he looked at me and he said, is it okay for me to speak up if I don't agree with something that's said? And I said, Aaron, yes, it is okay for you to do that. I would love for you to do that. Next week, Aaron walked into Bible study. And someone asked the question, hey guys, I just wonder what God's doing in your life. Hey, what has God done in your life? And all these guys start answering. They're throwing stuff out there. They're like, oh man, everybody's like, God did this, oh, God's done this in my life. And it's like going, and everybody's just rattling off things that they think God did in their life. And there was a moment of silence, and Aaron spoke up and said, No. God didn't do any of that stuff. God hasn't done anything in my life. And I'm like, and all the guys are just like, what's going on? And so he said this, there has never been a time that God did anything in my life. Jesus doesn't work in my life. I disagree with everything you guys just said. It's never happened to me. I just don't see God at work. Things happen, I do stuff, it works out. God has nothing to do with it. You could have heard a pin drop. It was just like, and I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, yes, oh yeah, come on, let's do this. And all the guys, and we had this great conversation. It led to this incredible conversation. About a year later, Aaron got really, really, really sick. I mean, like, almost dying sick. He's still alive. He's good. He's healthy now. And he was in the hospital for quite a bit. He was in and out of the hospital. And all of those guys checked on him, loved him, sent him cards. I think one dude sent him flowers, which was really funny. And people would go to the hospital and sit with him. He would get treatments, and people would sit with him, and they would be with him, and they would just spend time with him. And he got card after card after card, and all these guys loved him. People would call him from 3 hours away and just love him. And I remember about a year ago, I was in Northern Virginia, and I saw Aaron. And he said, do you remember that conversation? I was like, yeah, I remember that conversation, bro. And he's like, when I got sick, that was the first time I ever saw God do something for me. And I was like, dang, okay. He was authentic. He was real. He said, this is where I'm at. And I don't care who knows. This is where I'm at. And when everybody was agreeing with each other in the Bible study, he just jumped in and said, nope, I don't see it. And I'm going to be honest. That's authenticity. I love this scripture that is in 3 John 1:4. It says this. It's going to show up on the screen. I have no greater joy than to know that my children are walking in the truth. John says this, and for a lot of times in my life, I thought that this is just talking about the things that Jesus teaches, right? Oh, the truth means what Jesus teaches. He tells us to love our neighbor and do this and do that. Or it's where the Spirit is leading. Or it's what the Bible says. That's the truth. What if John meant something different? What if it's not just the truth of those things, but the reality of who we are and where we are in this life? What if he's talking about authenticity? What if he's saying, take the masks off, guys. Walk in the truth of where you are and how you're feeling and what's going on. And this doesn't mean that you have to make up sad stuff. If you're happy and rejoicing, come in here and do backflips. We will rejoice with you. And it's Hannah's birthday. We're going to rejoice. But here's the thing. If you're mourning, if you're hurting, if something's going on, you can be honest about it. We can walk in the truth, the reality of who we are and where we are, and what's going on, and where we're doubting, and where we're uncertain, and where we don't know. If I ask different questions about, hey, Who in the past week has been lonely and said, raise your hand? A lot of people would raise their hand. Who's felt this? Who's felt this? Who's felt this? Who's felt this? Who's cried today? Okay, I have. Yeah, I don't know if any of you. Yes, it's okay. And so we can walk in the truth of the reality of where we are and who we are. The definition of authentic or real, there's a couple definitions that are going to show up. It's a definition based on fact. It's actually based on fact of who you are and what you do and what you believe and what you think. It is nothing imitation or artificial. Nothing imitation or artificial. We don't put forth an artificial front of who we are. We give the real thing. And some of y'all know, like if we gave Hannah toaster pastries and not Pop-Tarts, she would throw them in the garbage, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You'd be done. You'd be like, these are not Pop-Tarts. What are y'all doing? Don't you love me? She would just walk out of here and say, I'm never coming back. And so she wouldn't do that, but I'm just kidding. But that's not the real thing. It's an imitation. And so a lot of us kind of imitate. And we're not living in the reality of who we are and where we are. But I think this is kind of a cool quote. When someone trusts you with their real, intimacy comes. When you live a life as a friend and you care for people in such a way and you love your neighbor in such a way that someone trusts you with their story, someone trusts you with their authenticity and their real, it leads to a deeper intimacy in the friendship. And you kind of know that's true, right? You kind of have figured that out by now. Your closest friends, you've probably walked through some stuff with them, right? You haven't just laughed with them and thought they were funny. You haven't just made good meals together. You have actually walked through some fire with them. And here's the thing. We can be honest with Jesus and one another. I want you to know that. We can be honest with Jesus and one another because here's the deal. Jesus is authentic. Jesus lived a life of authenticity on this earth. And I want to read a story. And if you want to turn there, you can turn there or get your phone Bible out or whatever. It's in Matthew 26. It starts in verse 30. And this is at the end of Jesus' life. Jesus is about to be arrested and die on a cross and raised from the dead. That's what's going on right now. And so in Matthew 26, starting in verse 30, he's with his disciples. He's just washed their feet. They've just taken the Lord's Supper together. He has told them that he's going to die. And he says this. It says they had sung a hymn. They worshiped. They went out to the Mount of Olives. Then Jesus said to them, you will all fall away because of me on this night. And saying, you will all deny me. You will all run away. For it's written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock will be scattered. But after I am raised up, I will go before you to Galilee. Peter answered him, even if everyone else falls away because of you, I will never fall away. Jesus tells him, hey, bro, you're going to deny me 3 times. And Peter says, even if I have to die with you, I will not deny you. And all the disciples said the same. Then Jesus went out to a place called Gethsemane, and he said to his disciples, sit here while I go over there and pray. And then, check this out. He takes Peter, James, and John with him. It says he began to be sorrowful and troubled. This is Jesus, y'all. Sorrowful and troubled. Then he said to them, this is Jesus, a quote from his heart. He says, my soul is very sorrowful, even to death. Remain here and watch and pray with me. Going a little farther, he fell on his face and prayed, saying, my Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as you will. He came to the disciples and found them sleeping. He asked them to keep watch and pray again. And he goes, because his soul is very sorrowful, even to death. And he goes and prays again. And he comes back and they're sleeping. He goes and prays the 3rd time. He comes back and they're sleeping. And I just want you to see the authenticity of Jesus. He doesn't say everything's fine. He doesn't say, oh, it's all good, man. You know, it's all good. I'm good. How are you, Jesus? I'm good. No. He says, my soul is sorrowful. My heart is breaking. I feel like dying right now. Later in the scripture it says that at that time he was sweating blood. He was so filled with anxiety. And he asked his disciples, sit here with me and watch and pray. and they fall asleep. Maybe you've asked somebody to be there for you and they failed. I would assume that Jesus knows how you feel. It's the people he needs. He asked these three men to sit watch with him and pray, and they fall asleep. And the reality is, authenticity was even something that Jesus did. He was always honest. He was always real. He was always this. And so Jesus was authentic. And so authenticity, I just want to share a couple other words that are going to show up on the screen that I want you to kind of think about. Authenticity means that we live in reality. We walk in the reality of who we are and where our lives are. Some of you want to be over here a lot closer to Jesus, but the reality of your life is you're right here. Some of you walked in here and you're like, I don't even know if I believe in Jesus. I'm not even sure where I'm at with Jesus, and I'm just trying to figure it out. And I'm going to live in the reality of where I am right now and be honest and authentic about it. The next thing is this: intimacy. Authenticity leads to an intimacy with people. And intimacy comes when our walls are down. And I'm not saying this has to be with everybody. This is not stuff where I expect any of you to walk up here and say, I just want to tell you all what's going on in my life. No, this happens close. This happens one-on-one. This happens with a smaller group of people. This happens with someone that you trust. And there's people in this room that I know I can trust with my life. And so I can share anything with them. There are people in this room that I know I can. I told someone in this room, in that office today, I can trust you with my life, and I love you. And so I know I can share things with you. This is something that is not for everyone. You are going to these places with people that you trust. But authenticity, it does another thing. And it's going to show up on this next slide. It opens us up to one another's humanity. It speaks truth and comfort to the lie of believing I am the only one. You ever felt like that? Were you the only one going through this thing? I've had multiple conversations with people this past week that when they said the thing that they were going through, I got to look at them and say, yeah, me too. I struggle with that. And they're like, wait, what? I thought I was the only one. I thought it was crazy because I was thinking these things. I thought like I was the only person that was going through this. And the reality is you're not. You're not. We're all human, right? So we can be authentic with one another. So it tells, hey, that's a lie that I'm the only one. But authenticity is hard. To open up to about your life to anybody, even people you're close to, is hard. And here's what holds us back. I think a couple things hold us back. We fear being a burden. Anybody ever been there? I want to talk to somebody, but man, I don't want to be a burden. Last year, I went through some stuff that was pretty heavy. And it seemed like for about a month, every student meeting that I had, the tables were reversed. And I would go to First Watch and sit with Corinne. And she would listen as I poured out my heart about what was going on in my life. And she would listen. And she would pray for me. And she would sit with me. And I would leave sometimes and think, how crazy is this? Like, it's supposed to be the other way. I'm the campus pastor. She's not. Well, now she is. We can hire her. She's better than me. She did a good job. But it's one of those things, like, I feared being a burden when I was supposed to carry her burden. But what really ended up happening is we just started carrying each other's burdens. And it got a lot easier to carry that stuff. You're not a burden. It is an honor to be welcomed into somebody's real and authentic life. It is not a burden. It is an honor. And yeah, it's heavy. It's hard. We got to carry some heavy crap sometimes with people. But it's not a burden. So you don't have to fear that. We feel like we have to hide, though, too. That we're the only ones, so we got to hide. We got to hide this. We can't talk about this. No one will understand us. And then if you talk to the wrong person the first time, it's like, no, they don't understand you. And they think, like, what the heck? I don't even know what to do with this. And it just shuts us down. But you are not the only one. You are not a burden. In fact, the Bible talks about this. It talks about carrying one another's burdens. We get the opportunity to carry one another's burdens. And so, the people that you go to, they're not going to be perfect. They're not always going to say the right thing. And in fact, if someone comes to you and you don't know what to say, try this. I love you. And I don't got words to say to help you. I don't know how to help you. I'm sorry. I don't have the words to make this better. But I will walk with you through everything in this, and I will help you carry it. That's what I got for you. And the people that have said that in my life are some of my closest friends now because they did that. And because I got to do that for them. It's an honor, not a burden. But even in the honor, you will help carry the burden. We don't have to carry the heavy stuff alone. And I love this. We cannot fix what is faked. And we cannot heal what is hidden. And so, if we spend our lives walking around, never talking or going deeper, nothing's going to get fixed and nothing's going to get healed. Nothing's going to change. Because we need each other in that. And so, that's one of the things that we just kind of have to see. And then here's a couple just little last things I want to share. I believe that the most beautiful moments in friendships, in loving one another, are the real and authentic moments. The ones where we're real and we're honest. The ones where the person says, "Can I talk to you?" when we open the door and they're already weeping. The ones where we get a little uncomfortable with that and we don't want to go there because we'd just rather laugh and have fun, right? And so I had a friend this week that told me, "Hey, I think one of the reasons we're such close friends is because we have the same sense of humor. And a lot of times I notice when we're in big groups together, we make each other laugh and we're cracking up and everybody else is kind of annoyed." You got that friend? Yeah, they're awesome, aren't they? And everybody else is just like, "Y'all crazy. Like, I don't even know what y'all doing." But that's not funny. And we're just like, that's funny. Like, it's really fun, right? So you might have that friend. But you know what? I believe that's bonded us as friends. I do. But more than that, I believe that the moments that we've looked at each other and we've said, "I'm scared. I don't know what to do. I need your help. Will you pray for me?" The moments where we've said, "I'm uncertain. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what the outcome's going to be." And we've gotten to say to each other, "I don't have words to make this better, but I'm with you, and I'm here, and I'm not leaving." That's what's bonded us. And so, I have this friend, and I'm not going to say their name this time, but I'm very close friends with this person. And one of the things that bonded us that I believe, when I think about the greatest moment in our friendship, the thing that bonded us the most have been all the things that have been hard. All the things where I was struggling or they were struggling. During COVID, when I had a panic attack at that desk back there, they were my first text to pray for me. And they got me through it to where I could stand up here and actually speak that night. And about a year ago or so, they got sick. And they didn't know what was going on. They just woke up one morning and everything was wrong. And they texted me and they called me and we talked, and I was out of town and things were not good. And so went to the hospital, went to the doctor, went back to the doctor later, got a temporary thing that was like helpful but not really healing, and it just kept going and going and going until we got to the week where they called or we were talking and they said, "I have to get this test done." And it's a really scary test, and I don't know what the outcome is going to be. And it's really this test that's going to really determine the results are going to be, I'm either really, really sick and something's really, really wrong, or I'm actually going to be okay. It was that kind of test. And I remember talking with them through this. And I remember standing in this yard and talking with them. And them saying, "I don't know if it's going to be okay. Am I going to be okay? I don't know what's going to happen. Will you come with me to this test?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm with you." And I remember standing and just talking and praying. And the night before the test, getting in my car in this driveway and weeping. Because I wanted my friend to be okay, and I didn't know if they would be. And they didn't know if they would be. And I remember really early in the morning, the next morning, walking out to my car here, getting in my car and driving them to the test. Kind of silent, not a lot of talking. It's going to be okay. Let's pray. Do you want me to come with you? Inside. Yeah, I want you to come with me. Sitting in the waiting room. Gets called back. Do you want me to come with you? Yeah, I want you to come with me. Sitting in a closet room that is no bigger than these two right here. And just talking and praying. And then looking at me, and they said, it's going to be okay, isn't it? Yeah, it's going to be okay. It's time for the test. Let's go back. Do you want me to come with you? Yeah, I want you to come with me. Sitting in this room where the test is actually happening, praying for my friend to be okay. And they're okay. 2 days later, after the test, I got the call that they were okay. And I was out of town again. And I was in Hilton Head, South Carolina. And I ran down to the beach and just celebrated. And you might not know that, you were there, but you were not with me. And so, water is peaceful to me. And so I went there to the water. I just had to see it because I was in such peace that my friend was going to be okay. And the results came back good. Without authenticity, that never happens. These types of stories of, I have this friend that I got to walk beside and sit with in a really scary moment are the most beautiful moments in relationship in our lives. Don't miss that. Don't miss that. And yeah, do I prefer laughing and joking around and having a good time and doing silly stuff? Yes, I do. I prefer that. But this is where it's at. This is where authenticity is born. When someone looks at you, or you look at someone, and in your eyes, they can see, or you can see, honesty, authenticity. You can see, I'm scared. I don't know what's going to happen. I thought my life would be different right now. I'm lonely. I wish it wasn't this way. I am so tired of this, whatever your favorite expletive is. And I know you all got favorites, right? Be authentic about it, right? Everybody has a favorite. So, some of you are like, no, I don't. No, you might not. It's okay. But when we can actually be authentic and real about that, I can actually see the real in their life. And here's a cool thing. I think this is going to show up on the screen. What if we were becoming a people who were real and authentic? Who walks through the fear of expressing emotion, through the fear of letting people see who we really are, where we really are? What if we said the thing we've been wanting to say out loud and it changed everything? My friend walking up to me and saying, I have to have this test, I'm really scared. Help. The countless numbers of students that have walked in here and said to another student, or to me, or to Morgan, or Brandon, I don't know what to do. That leads to this. It changes everything because this is what it does. I think this is going to show up on the screen too, I hope. Already said that. You know, that's what bonds us. That's for. But I do believe this, that finding a place leads to belonging. Some of you are freshmen, we've only known you like 3 weeks, and we're like besties, you know? It's like, and you're like, how did this happen? I didn't even know that person, and now I'm getting in their car and going places with them. Like, that's so weird. Like, y'all walk up for church that first Sunday, and you're like, get in the van, and you're like, okay! And it's like, y'all crazy. This is like, totally against what your parents taught you. But when you find a place, this is what you find. You find belonging. You find community. You find a family. You experience love and grace from Jesus and those people. It leads to a deeper relationship. And all of this stuff added together leads us to have the opportunity for authenticity. You have a person in this room. If you just take that step, you can talk to them about what's going on in your life. And they're going to love you. They're going to care for you. And they're going to listen. And they're going to be there. That's what this leads to, that opportunity. And this is going to be a weird way to end, I think, but that's okay. I'm going to try to not steal the song in the key of D up here like I've done in the past, and I'm sorry if I do. And so, but just put that picture of the "Hello, my name is" up there. It's a name tag that probably a lot of you have worn in your life, and you put your name on it, right? I would put Michael on there. Sometimes I put Miguel. Sometimes I put Sexy Pants McGee. Don't ask. I just do it. And like that's fine. But that was too authentic, wasn't it? She's like, you went too far. The other stuff. My bad.
That's a lot for me.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Wait. The danger with that one is not that you wrote it down. It's that if you write it down, that means people get to call you that for the rest of however long they know you.
It's all good.
That's what it wants.
Bryce is doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, what happens in the middle of church when you walk
guys
up and
have-
go, hey!
Mike, that's your real name.
Yes, it is. I really am Mike. Yes, it's my real name. But this name tag, you've seen it. Hello, my name is. And here's the thing. This is what I want you to think about. I don't want you to think about putting your name on there. I don't want you to think about writing your actual name. I want you to look at this simple name tag, and I want you to think about all the things you would say about yourself right now. Hello, my name is. Maybe right now, life is good, and you're just rejoicing. My name's Joy. I'm just in a season of joy. It's just so good right now. It's my birthday, and I got Pop-Tarts, and I'm just feeling right and good. 21, yeah. Okay. And so, but you know what? Maybe it's hello, my name is lonely. Maybe it's hello, my name is addicted. Maybe it's hello, my name is tired. Maybe it's hello, my name is stressed. Maybe it's hello, my name is scared. Maybe it is hello, my name is, I don't even know, because life is a train wreck. I don't know. Hello, my name is train wreck. I don't know. That would be real funny if you met someone at a thing and like they just put train wreck and they were honest, and it's like, okay. Hello, my name is, like, what would you put? Like, in this moment, right now. Like, literally in this moment, right now. What word or phrase or name would you give yourself about the way you feel and what's going on in your life right now? But here's what I want you to think about, too. No matter what it is, no matter how bad you think it is, no matter how tough you think it is, no matter how difficult it is, you really can just write loved over all that. You can just write loved over all that. You're loved by God, and you're loved by the people in this place. You're loved by the people around you. And a lot of times you think, I could never say this to another person. But maybe you walk up to someone tonight, tomorrow, the next day, that's in this room tonight with you. And you say, you know what? Hello, my name is lonely, but I know I'm loved. But I need you to talk to me and pray with me and spend some time with me. Can we take a walk? What if you did that? What if you put a real name tag on and said, this is where I'm at, this is who I am, and I want to talk to you about it? I wonder what God would do with that. It could be amazing. And I know for some of you, this is a very hard thing, and you're hearing about authenticity for the first time in your life, and you're just like, no way I'm doing that? Cool. Keep coming back. You never know. Get to know each other, build deeper friendships, and it may lead to that one day where you need to come in and say, hello, my name is, but I know I'm loved. And so, let's pray. God, just thank you so much for this time we can be together. Thank you so much for your word and your grace and your love. And God, thank you that we are so loved by you and by one another that we can actually be honest and real and authentic about where we're at. May we know that we're loved by you and by one another this day. And I just thank you so much for every person in this room. It's in your name we pray. Amen. The worship team is going to come and just lead us in another song.